What's good? What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, man. Um, it's the day of the fight. Actually, early morning. 7 minutes into the day, so it's lit. No, I ain't gonna cap, man. This fight got me up. I've been watching all type of reactions. I've been watching all type of interviews, man. Of course, we doing the bet. Shout out DraftKings. Get your bets in. But yeah, y'all see the title, man. We gonna I ain't gonna speak too much real quick. I'm gonna let this play. Then I'm gonna come back and rock.
I'm not going to jump out there and say he's going to stop him, but I'm very, very, very confident that he's going to get the job done with having his hands raised at the end of the night. I got a chance to know Canelo very, very well. Obviously, before him, in 2013, but I've studied his entire career, and I know him probably better than most do. And what I've come to find out is that this is a great matchup for Caleb. Yep. He has the opportunity of a lifetime because, some of these media and some of these fans, they look at this newer version of Canelo. And I can say newer version because, quite a bit of it has changed. All of a sudden, he's a puncher now. He wasn't that early on in his career. But what the common thing, what I found out about him and knowing him and studying him, is that he loses rounds.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
I've seen him get outboxed with long stretches in a fight. To come on later in the fight and be able to get the guy. But if Caleb comes in with the right game plan, which I'm confident that he will, I'm very confident that he's going to be able to beat him. And I don't think it's going to be very difficult. I don't think this fight is going to be very difficult at all. I can very well envision a 8-4, kind of 9-3 kind of fight. Woo.
Yeah, that's what we like to hear. I think he's going to frustrate Canelo so much. He's never, Canelo has a problem with guys like Caleb. The bigger guy, the guy that can move, the guy that can jab, the guy that can, good slick defense. Those guys give him problems. Caleb said,
yeah, they do. Yeah,
he's going in with bad
people
intention.
Acting like that this guy has never lost a round or doesn't lose rounds, and it's my body. I watched Billy Joe Saunders outbox him.
Yep.
And I'm not a big fan at all of Billy Joe Saunders. And I'm not one that trashes fighters and calls them names, but I'm not a fan of Billy Joe Saunders at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to be exciting.
I think Caleb Plant is a tremendous fighter. He has the opportunity of a lifetime. And what people often fail to realize is that given the moment, people are able to execute and get the job done. The moment's not bigger than the opportunity. You know what I mean? It's like this is something he's been waiting for his entire life, and he's going to be able to go out there and step up and prove to the world that he's one of the best fighters in the entire world.
All right, man. So look, now I know the boxing community like the joke and whatever about Leonard, but y'all heard it there first, man. I kind of want to play that back because I ain't gonna lie, that video's some fire. Just if you know the backstory, when it comes to if you just needed some extra information on Caleb Plant, I think that video says a lot. Now, Leonard touched on something that I think a lot of people don't want to admit, and I'm gonna put this out there first. Canelo is a great fighter, pound for pound, #1 right now. It's common sense, man. If you don't say Canelo is one of the top 2-3 fighters, you just hating. But I continue to say this, that he's not Superman. So long story short, Leonard touched on 1 point, 2 points, but the main thing was that Canelo loses rounds. Great as he is, he's not. And I gotta start going to some better boxing panels because a lot of these dudes just be saying stuff. But these dudes on H Money Boxing had the nerve to tell me that Canelo was the better outside fighter than Caleb Plant. Like, come on, as much as I love Canelo, like, bro, come on, Canelo. Every fighter has their attributes and their flaws. Even Floyd had his. So just for them to sit there and try to tell me that Canelo with the shorter reach is the better outside fighter, it was just like, bro, the stuff I've been hearing, the stuff the casual fans has been saying about Canelo, You would think this man invented boxing. You would think he Willie Pep, Pernell, Triple G, Wilder rolled up and won. You know, with a little Andy. Like you would just think he's just like the Michael Jordan of boxing. You know, which like I said, Canelo is great, but he does have his flaws. So moving on, man, Leonard said a lot in that video, and I got another video I want to play. Hopefully they don't flag it. They might because it's Joe Rogan. But um, one thing I didn't know is that you know a lot of people say the Caleb Mayweather connection, but they say that Caleb came up in the Mayweather gym, and how the dude was breaking it down on the Joe Rogan. He was saying like Caleb was getting his ass whipped at Mayweather's gym, and then he eventually became one of the top dogs. And just to hear Leonard speak how he speak, you know, Leonard then gave fight predictions a lot, but for him to kind of break it down like that for as staying a style matchup, and you know, a lot of people gonna say he's biased with the Floyd, but Leonard is telling the truth. He does know Canelo. He fought against the man, and he didn't been around the man. You know, he'd been around other Canelo fights. It's common sense. So I take Leonard's word serious with that, and he was just, to me, he was just too confident how he was speaking, man. When you just think about it, for as a style matchup, you know, I'm not saying Canelo can do it because I'm not gonna lie, I'm still 50-50. I'm gonna bet on Plant, but I'm still 50-50 because a part of me know that yes, Canelo can go in there and outbox the taller man, but at 5'9", Caleb too basically what 6'1", 6'2", you know, 4-inch reach advantage. To me, man, I just see it being hard for Canelo to get inside, you know, especially with Caleb's style. You know, like I won money on a Callum Smith because I already knew, you know, everybody kept saying, oh, Callum Smith reach advantage and he's bigger. But I watched like 3 rounds of Callum Smith and knew he's a front foot come forward fighter. I said Canelo gonna tag him up, but he's not gonna knock him out because he's too big. What happened? Boom. Now, you know, not a huge win. I think I won like $40, $50, $60, but still. So I already got the experience of just, you know, seeing Canelo fighting bigger dudes. He usually go to decision. But let me try to find this other video real quick. And once again, shout out Leonard, man, because you might have just won me some money, bro. I ain't gonna cap with you. You might have just won me some dinero, but I want to find. It was like it had the Joe Rogan and it had the Mike Tyson in one. It had both of their reactions in one because Mike Tyson was definitely wilding out on his reaction. So let me see. Here we go.
Live stream.
Yeah, Canelo is in this weird place where he's kind of cleaned out the division, right? He's got Caleb Plant,
Right.
and not just that division. He's kind of cleaned out a lot of divisions.
I think Caleb might. I think he's gonna panic of a heart attack when he get in there and he starts doing that fancy stuff. And the guy just keeps coming.
Exactly.
Now, most people, when you do the fancy stuff, these guys stop punching. He's gonna keep punching. Hit him in the back. He's gonna hit him in the hip.
You know, I'm not that familiar with Caleb Plant. I know he's really good, but I don't think I've seen any of his fights.
Caleb Plant was the whipping boy in the Mayweather gym before.
Was he?
He was the guy that got his ass beat by everybody, and then he became the top guy. But I always say, the more you get your ass whooped and you don't like it, the more you're going to get better at not getting your ass whooped.
I think he's protecting his body and his hip by all that fancy movement. He's going to get hit in the fucking hip and his ass. He's going to get hit everywhere.
But that's what I'm saying, too. Like, Caleb Plant, he's not going to be able to keep him off him. You need power to keep you. You think a person with 12 knockouts with 23 fights is going to keep Canelo off of him? Like, no, it's not going to happen.
Especially Mexicans in particular, they will pressure you from
Relentless.
round 1
Relentless.
to freaking till the end of the round, dude. Till
They're that kind of fighter, relentless.
And I want to see how he reacts once Canelo starts touching that body.
Ooh. You remember that fight with Triple G, Mike?
Yeah.
And Canelo?
It was a great fight.
I felt Triple G beat him that first fight.
He did good, but it's hard. This guy throws the count. He's slick boxing. He throws the count. He's like American knives, you know? Slick jab, move, body punches. I thought that he had the points.
The first fight, I thought he won.
Definitely. I was at that one.
Yeah, I thought he won the first fight.
I was ringside there.
The second fight, very close. very close. And Teddy Atlas was saying they should have given it to Triple G. A lot of other people favored Canelo, but a much better performance for Canelo.
Do you relate a little bit to your style to Canelo, Mike? You know,
he's aggressive, he punch hard, but he's also smart. You know, people think he's just not walking forward and scoring those knockouts. You know, if that was the case, his face would look like mush. You know, he's moving his head, he's jabbing. He's slick. A lot of people too, like, since he knocks people out so much, you forget that he was a boxer.
Let's call it what it is. I mean, Canelo will beat him, but that doesn't mean Caleb's a pushover by any means.
Just pull up some Caleb Plant highlights.
You look at the way he comes in now. I mean, that's because of years of getting into wars in the gym.
So he was a Mayweather guy.
He was a Mayweather guy. He was in the gym. He was a young kid. I think a friend of mine who worked for Mayweather
look at his head.
reminded me that I saw Caleb in the gym that one time I went to go watch Mayweather train, and I think he said Caleb must have been 4 or 5-0 at that time.
He looks slick.
But he's one of those guys that really fucking puts his nose to the grind and fixes his mistakes as well.
It's kind of one of those things, man, where when
that short left hook, you see, that's a Mayweather thing right there.
When you're facing a guy like Canelo Alvarez that's so good right now, he's like, it's hard to get to those RPMs without having the kind of fights that Canelo's had, without having those 2 Triple G fights, without having that fight with Mayweather, without having the fight with Danny Jacobs, without having all the James Kirkland fight, all those fights where he built up to where he is now, high profile, where Caleb obviously is very skillful. He hasn't had those high profile big fights. It's so hard to
and the
step
pressure
in.
attached to it.
Yeah. Now, watching him starch Billy Joe Saunders like that.
And Saunders is a good fighter.
He's a very
tough
good
kid.
Undefeated, super tough, super slick.
All right, so yeah, that's basically the parts I wanted y'all to hear. But yeah, man, so y'all kind of heard that backstory I was talking about for as the whole Caleb coming up in the Mayweather gym, man, and some of the highlights they were showing, like now when I made this video, I'm not saying that there's no way Canelo can win. We obviously know Canelo's the favorite. Like I said, you go check Vegas will let you know quick who the favorite is. But I just wanted to put another side out there because there's just been so much just one-sided predictions, like people just not even giving Caleb no chance. They basically, the way they making it sound like, why should Caleb even put the gloves on if he's just gonna go in there and lay down? Like, maybe they got used to Canelo's recent schedule. But last words on this video, this fight is definitely a style clash. We got, to me, the boxer versus the boxer puncher, what you want to call it, Canelo, because I like Leonard said, now that I'm thinking, I don't really consider Canelo. The new Canelo was a power puncher, but overall Canelo really is not a power puncher if you know boxing. But I think if Canelo shows that he can beat that pure boxing style, then I will give him his respect. But on the other end, if Caleb beats Canelo and maybe beats him easily, don't be surprised. This your boy Self-Made Life Ken, man. You already know. Go follow the IG. Stay tuned. Merch will be here sooner than y'all know it, man. But hit the Cash App. I'm going, man.